All right, it looks like we are live. Hello, Taurus. How are you doing today? Welcome to your monthly reading for the next 6 to 8 weeks. We'll be looking at October. Believe it or not, we're already at that point of the year. It's great to see you. Today, I got some really interesting energy coming through in dreams, which we'll be talking about. Your totem today is going to be the horse, and there's some opportunities for you to speak up and to make a difference, and so we'll be going into that in just a couple of minutes. So lots of love and kisses here from Apollo. First and foremost, I'm going to put this little guy down so we can get started. Thanks, buddy. All right, my name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, as I said, and here's the overall sort of format for what we're going to be looking at today. I like to begin with channeled messages, and I just kind of gave you a sneak peek of what your totem will be for today. After we go through the channel messages, then we're going to take a deeper dive and look at the Celtic Cross. And the Celtic Cross for me always takes on whatever energy it needs to. I don't solely focus it on just career or just love because I feel like that's too limiting. So we'll see where it takes us, and then we'll take a look at the expanded forecast, which comprises those areas of health, wealth, love, and destiny. There's a lot more that will come, and we'll get into those sections as we get closer to them. If you like what you see here, or you'd like to be kept in the loop for what's coming up this week, which includes a retrograde sort of like survival kit, please like and subscribe. That'll be a shorter form video, probably like a 10 to 13 minute video, just like I did last month with the new moon. So with the Mercury retrograde coming, I figured that would be something cool for all of us. I'll try to keep it concise. I'll do a mini read, and then I'll give you some advice on what the challenges are in this particular retrograde. I always view retrogrades as an opportunity for improvement and a chance to release things, so I'll be looking at it from that constructive point of view. Feel free to follow me on social media as well. I try to always give you a heads up at least one day before about what I'm going to be doing on my channel, so it's a great way to make sure that you don't miss something. Here's all my social media platforms. Recently there was someone on Twitter. It seems like it's like once a month there'll be one of the platforms where there's an imposter. So with that being said, make sure that you know a couple of things. I don't use direct messages, so if anyone ever, it's always the same message too. Something like this: I feel a close connection to you. Would you like a reading, or something like that? That is an imposter. I don't use social media for that, and I don't offer private readings, especially don't offer them over chat. So be mindful of that. Let me know if that happens. Report the person as well. You can always tweet me on Twitter. You can send me a direct message, which I will then use to report the person, or better yet, use the form on my website. Because again, I'm really trying not to even read the direct messages if possible. All right. Finally, if you'd like to show some love and support, you can do that through an official channel. That's the only way to really know that it's coming to me. This, or Patreon, or PayPal, and you can get all of those from my website or here in YouTube. All right, I just wanted to put that out there since we have a Mercury retrograde on the horizon. It's good to be clear about communication. So let's get started. We're going to begin with channeled messages. So today, as I was tuning in, I got the energy of like a wild steed, stallion, or Mustang, just this sort of energy of a horse running through the mountains, which to me is a very freeing energy, and of course would connect and correlate with the energy of the chariot, which is direction, control, management, basically all of those things together. So let's talk about this and a couple of other messages from dreams as well. Okay. So here you can see the main issues that we'll be looking at today. Horse as the main totem. Chiron, because it's a centaur and it's connected to all of this, and appears in a lot of oracle decks as well, but half human, half horse. The importance of voting and participating and making your opinion heard, and then just accountability in general. All of these things are important. Okay, so to me, as I tune into the spirit, it's really important to understand that wild horses represent freedom. Freedom of will, freedom of direction, and movement. And what I liked about the sort of energy of a wild horse is that, basically it's nobody's fool. It gets to kind of go which way it wants. So I like that. Although they appear in a lot of cards like the Chariot, I featured one here from the Wild Unknown where you don't even see the chariot anymore. It's basically the horse represents all of that, because there is the energy of domination that you would see in the traditional chariot, and I think it's kind of refreshing to see that we don't need that. We don't need someone controlling us. It's almost about reclaiming your free will and your a little bit of the wild nature too, saying, I feel like I want to do this. I feel drawn to do this. I'm going to go down that path. I don't need someone tugging me back and making me go in their direction. So I really love what the illustrator did in The Wild Unknown. There is a challenge and an opportunity for you in the coming weeks to basically embrace the energy of self-sufficiency. It's always, I'm not going to say it's always, I would say it's often easier to have somebody else driving the ship, because if something goes wrong, you can just point your finger and say, it's their fault, right? Or they should have done this. And what happens when we don't have that opportunity, when the buck stops here, when you have to sort of do everything, is that basically at the end of the day, you know that you have to sort of say, well, I decided to do that. I learned from that, and I take accountability for it. So that's really what this is showing us here, is that with the power comes the responsibility, but it also gives you the sense that, you can, the sky's the limit, right? Okay, who's the boss? Hint, it's you. I forgot to put the question mark in there, but yeah, who's the boss? You're the boss. Remembering that you are basically the captain of the ship is going to be key. So take a moment to communicate desired direction, also desire in general. What is it that you want? And requirements. Because in any situation, even if you're not the leader, you still have a chance to affect direction. And that's going to be part of the next slide too, which is speaking up or voting. If you're in a group and there is no leader, or the leader is poor, there may be a chance for you to step in and help. You could be an assistant, you could be the leader, you could get behind someone who wants to lead, figure out how some organization or direction is going to come into play, okay? And Taurus, you make a pretty good leader, because when you put your mind to it, you get things done, right? My moon is in Taurus, and I know that once I'm very passionate about something, Taurus helps, like my Capricorn rising and my Libra sign, my sun sign, all come together. It oftentimes is like the fire to get things done. And it pushes me when I don't want to do things. So I know that you have the capacity to do this, whatever it is that you set your mind to. Okay, I want to talk about Chiron, one particular centaur. He's known as the wounded healer. He was basically taken care of by both Apollo and Artemis. He learned the arts of healing. He was a good hunter, great archer. He was also skilled with music and prophecy. Really great energies, basically. He did get injured in battle, though, once, and for all of his healing abilities, he wasn't able to heal that one wound. And therefore, he's known as the wounded healer. His appearance in the totem reminds us that healing is possible, but there are some things that we either need to just let go of, because we can't, as one person, you can only fix yourself, right? You can only deal with how you're going to react to the stress or the pain in your life. We can't do all the healing for somebody else. We can't change what happened. We can only change what we're going to do with what happened. So there's healing, but there's always limits with healing, and there's a reality to the healing. And Chiron teaches us where to find the balance. And I do believe that, unlike Chiron, pain in general does, we're talking not about chronic pain, but like soul pain or emotional scars from the past, they have a way of fading. And then you start to look at other parts of your life, and you don't focus on that sort of faded scar so much. So focus on, I think that in particular, this has to do with parental and childhood relationships. Because if we can take care of, at least like I said, our reaction to or our viewpoint of that now, then future relationships are going to benefit from it. You won't be replaying the roles. You won't be trying to fix or sort of like role play all of those things from the past. Okay? So in your situation, because we are not a myth, there is a potential to release the pain. We don't need to hold on to it anymore. And understand that as one person, all you can do is take accountability for your part, heal your part, and it's okay to move in a different direction, especially if the other party doesn't want to be receptive to the healing. Okay? So I think it's limitless with you, but there's limits on the people around you. You can't help everybody. You can't heal everyone, especially if they're not open or ready for it yet. Leave the door open, see if that conversation can happen later. But this month, it's about focusing on personal healing and getting into the next part of your life. So moving on to a specific dream message. It is so important in this moment for you to have an opportunity to speak your mind. I was shown, and it's going to connect with the next card here, which is that somebody might have, they might be sort of working to make sure that you're not speaking up. And so in this moment in time, you want to make sure that you fight for your opportunity, maybe in some cases your right to communicate something that isn't there. So if there is a vote, show up, vote, because it's going to make a difference. And someone else is kind of hoping that you don't do that and hoping that enough people don't do it, that a shift or a change doesn't happen. Same thing when it comes to constructive criticism or anything of that nature. There's something important that you need to convey or say to make something special happen, and please show up for that. I think it's so important. If you don't like what you see in the world at large, then it's time to be the agent of change. And I chose the Eight of Pentacles here because it writes, it petitions, it edits, it makes necessary changes and shares those with others. And it can also be like a curriculum. It can be a speech that you're going to write or basically, I don't want to say perform, but you would give to people to kind of help shift something mentally for them. So this is the time to do all of the aforementioned. There's also great value in thinking through something and writing it out. So some of you may be able to come to a better understanding of what it is that you want if you just type it out. So I think that's what this is saying as well, or speak it out with somebody. Make a few drafts for sure, especially if you happen to be watching live since we have a retrograde around the corner. Edit it, speak it out, edit it again, and then you can share it with somebody. And the final slide in this presentation, and it's a really important one, was basically I saw a combination. It was both a shape shifter and then like a sleight of hand. And the sleight of hand I saw, it was almost like you had handed over an identification card and you didn't get it back, or you weren't sure, it wasn't the same thing. So there was a message there about being very mindful of what you share with others, particularly private details. Then I looked at the person and they changed into something else. So someone's presenting in a way that you're going to probably see through it. Here's the cool thing, actually, for everybody watching, the fact that we're talking about this is going to give you the ability to see the shapeshifter and see their sort of behavior. It's really more of a decision of what you want to do about it. It's important to be strong, to hold them to be accountable, to let them know that I see you, basically, and to also let them know that this isn't acceptable. So like energy attracts like energy. When you are strong, when you are accountable, and when you speak up, then that person's no longer a mirror of you. But if there's anything in your life that you need to be more accountable for, if there's anything, or if it's just a matter of like standing up for yourself or having boundaries, that's when these sort of Seven of Swords or Five of Swords people will come into your life. So there's an opportunity there to be the best version of yourself, and this will fade away. The last piece is the most important one. Hold yourself and others accountable. If you say you're going to do it, do it. If you can't do it, say that something's changed so the person knows. I had a great question the other day from somebody who was like, what if I'm the person that's ghosting someone? Well, you're basically setting into the energy that it's okay for other people to do that to you as well. It's much stronger to say how you feel and why you feel that way, and if you're interested or not interested, so someone else can be freed to move on so that they're not sort of attached in thoughts to you. And that's just a powerful note there. Always kind of act in that way that you want to be treated yourself. Also, the middle sentence here, in new contracts or partnerships, get to know who you are with before signing anything concrete. If you are going to get into a new sort of job or a new living situation, bring an extra set of eyes with you as well. And having just done that myself, I'm like, yeah, I wish I had someone else to look at it, because there were a lot of things that I've seen since moving in. Like I said, I had a vision of water damage and I'm seeing indications of it everywhere. So I'm working to remedy that. This space is temporary, by the way. I'm glad you guys like it. I tried to pick a cozy room and I know you guys said it was cozy, so thank you so much. But yes, one of the things that I think is important is to get another set of eyes, because a lot of times we're too attached to an outcome, or we're too in a moment of stress or need to see if the person's trustworthy, if this contract is fair enough, or sometimes even if a space is what it appears to be. So the good thing about the next 6 to 8 weeks is I basically see a revelation. I saw the shape shifting happening. I saw the sleight of hand revealed, and then you just get to decide what to do about it, how to bring it into something that is accountable and right for you. All right? So that, my friends, is the main messages here. If you just joined, here's what we're going to look at. I'm going to pick a few decks today. I'm going to get an external camera. I'm starting to, this room is so bright that I have to sort of manually set the ISO and white balance. So I have another camera that I'm going to put to the side where I can put the cards. But for today, I'm going to select some decks that have some more darker and contrast sort of images, so that they're going to work well with the brightness of this room right now. So give me a second to just select those, and then I'll give you a chance to vote. All right, so how is everybody doing today? How are you feeling? Hopefully, for some of you in the United States, this actually is a holiday. So I hope that you're enjoying your day off, if you actually were lucky enough to have the day off. So congrats. And for everyone else, welcome. We're going to make this a great day. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the cards and see which deck is calling to you today. I think these will all work pretty well. Pick one more. Okay, these are all pretty good choices. Actually, let's see, maybe, yeah, this is good. These are ones that we don't always use. Okay, let me go ahead now, and although the Chariot card, maybe I'll swap out for one of these. I don't know the Chariot one, but I'll put Light Seers in here because it's a nice darker. Okay. There we go. These will all work. Okay, let me put up a poll for you. We have Afro Goddess, Light Seers, what is this, Spirit? Something Spirit. I forget this one, but I'm going to call it Silhouette. Spirit Within, I think is what it's called. Apologies if I got the name wrong. And then an old-fashioned one from the 70s, Morgan Greer. All right, because these all have really rich imagery that will show up well with the current lighting. Okay, so let's take a look at each of these. So we have the beautiful Afro Goddess deck, which I use a lot. Same thing with the lovely Light Seers deck, option number 2. This one is a unique deck that shows silhouette figures rather than people. So this is Spirit Within, I believe. And then an old-fashioned deck from the 70s. Really beautiful imagery. This is maybe like the 3rd or 4th deck that I purchased. It's a cool one where everything's kind of like zoomed in. So if you want to see an old school deck, here we go. Kind of looks like something from 70s TV show, like a kid's TV show or something. I like it. All right, so you have a chance to vote. Let me know which one is calling to you, and I'll give you a couple more moments to connect here. It looks like we have kind of a tie almost between Light Seers and Morgan Greer. Let's see, we have 200 people and only 46 that voted, so I'd like to see a couple more, because otherwise it's a dead tie, and I will just kind of alternate between the two. All right, 3, 2, 1. Let's end the poll. I think it's going to be Morgan Greer. Let's see which one is coming through. All right, it is Morgan Greer. Thank you all for voting. I appreciate that. It'll be fun to read with a different deck today, so I always like change. All right, let's get started, everyone. If you just joined in, we're going to be taking a look not at the channel messages, but at the Celtic Cross. We just did the channel messages. All right, Celtic Cross. This is going to span the next 6 to 8 weeks. You can use it for your sun, your rising, and also for your moon sign. And if you stick around until the very end, I'm going to do some additional messages for sun, rising, and moon. By the way, I saw a bunch of people typing out the question. You want to actually, in the future, make sure that you click on the poll option, because that's the only one where it's going to actually come through. Oh, let's take that out so you can just see me. Okay. All right, there's a little bit of glare on that again. I'm working on, let's see if I can adjust this. I'm working on the lighting situation here because, like I said, I had to move into this room, and this is temporary. I'll be doing this for maybe a month or two until I find an office, because I just need to find a place where it's a little safer for all of my equipment. So thank you for your patience and understanding. Yeah, the really cool thing about this particular deck is that it's very sort of like close up. So a lot of times when I would do readings for people, like readings about another person in your life, I like this deck because it zooms in on the faces, and it gives you a good feeling for like how someone else might be feeling or what's going on. It's kind of like a telephoto version of the Rider-Waite-Smith. That's how I would say. You'll be able to see each card a little better as I pull it up, because I can see there's a little glare here. Actually, I know what I can do. I can probably take the light down a little bit. There you go. So yeah, what you can see with all of these is just this beautiful kind of close-up and illustrated approach. All right, let's go ahead now and take a look at each of these cards and talk about what they have to say. Okay, so what an interesting card here for those of us in California. So we have the fault line here, and here's what's amazing about this planet. Weather and plate tectonics are constantly pushing and changing and molding things. This is very much the shape-shifter energy that I saw as well. And the shape-shifting energy is going to create a movement for you. So we see that energy of change and transformation, and then we see a fault here. And so basically, there are like 3 different types of faults. There are some that slide back and forth. And then there's kind of like some that jut up, like you would see the Himalayas, right? And then there are other sort of areas where they go underneath. A lot of times with the continents, that's what happens. I think Japan sits on one where there's energy where it kind of goes underneath it. But anyway, there's all these different things. So you're either going to create mountains, or you're going to have something like this where it goes under. They can also go apart, like in the ocean ridges. So that's right. So it's either going to go this way, or it's going to go apart, or it's going to go under. And so basically the Earth is constantly rotating and recreating its surface, which I think is amazing. So the other fascinating piece of this, because I actually took a bunch of geology classes back in the day, I just was fascinated. The continental drift, the degree to which it changes is just a few millimeters a year. It's hardly recognizable. Over the course of hundreds of thousands of years, big changes happen. So for you, change is happening now. But just like the plates, we only see it when there's a big shift or when there's an earthquake, right? Then it feels like everything's been happening. But for those of you that are feeling like that pressure is building up, we don't want to see a moment where, like a volcano, everything explodes. So find a way to manage your stress, pay attention to the warning signs, something that I'm doing here, before something happens. So I like to be transparent and share life experiences. I think it's really good. So I'm a medium, and I'm able to also not just read people, but read places. For me, unfortunately, I kind of have to be in a place for a little bit before I can read it all, and not just a walkthrough. I'm still working on that kind of ability to read. But let's say like a week into me staying here, I saw that there was going to be two rooms that were affected, the room that I was broadcasting from, and then the adjacent room. And I'm like, okay, I can't use that. I have this little tiny office that I decided to use, but I've also found some issues here. Basically, there was something in the past where there was a leak, and there's going to be one in the future. And so I was gifted the vision, and now I have to do something about it. I'm not going to wait for it to happen. So that means that I have to make some quick adjustments. So, and then I'm going to work on seeing things like that sooner. I would love to just be able to walk through it and get it like that. I had to be in a place for about a week to pick up on it, but that's still amazing, and I'm grateful for it. But I had a choice to just wait for that to happen or to get ahead of it. So as an intuitive and a medium, if I see something's going to happen, I fix it. I figure out a way to circumvent it. I'm not going to wait for that. So basically, just because you see something doesn't mean you have to live it. You have to go through it. And the fault line is telling you that there are cracks, there are warnings, there are things that you need to pay attention to. So by all means, pay attention to those warning signs before the change happens. This is where the horse energy comes through. You can go your own way. You can do whatever it is that you need to do to get to safe ground, right? And for some of you, this could also indicate like where the relationship is, where the business is, where this current sort of engagement of your time and your resources are. There's something that's a little bit shaky like the tower. So you are getting ahead of the tower. This is like tower reversed energy, right? So there you go. Very, very important. And another thing I noticed in this place was a crack that was forming and things like that. So I brought all of this up to my landlord. But this place is so much better. But what's happening, what I've seen with it is that you have to do preventative maintenance, not just reactive maintenance, to make sure that a place continues to be strong, right? And I'm not seeing the preventative, and that worries me. So I see in the future, it could be 1 year from now, 2 years from now, it could be 1 or 2 weeks from now, that something will happen. So I'm preparing myself, and then this will be a short-term place that I'm at. So that was its intention. Also, sometimes it's interesting. Have you ever noticed with relationships, jobs, or places that you live, I think sometimes our guides want us to not get too settled in a space, so or in a relationship or in a space and time. And it's almost like this is good enough for now, but there's something better awaiting you. So pay attention. The fault line is all those little things that we want to avoid. And what you're going to do is say, no, I can't avoid it. I have to connect with that. All right. Let's go into the center cards here. Pick and choose. This is a time to be really mindful of what it is that you want to spend your time and energy with. It's a card of discernment above all else. So here we have 6 of Pentacles. We see the main person here holding the scales, and we see the hands reaching out and saying, can I have some? Or can you do this? Or how about this? And he or she basically gets to decide, yeah, this feels good for me, or I'm not connected to that. No. Use your yeses and your nos very sparingly. Don't say yes to everything. Don't say no to everything. Each time consider, will this be worth it? How often do they ask? What do I want? How is this making me grow, develop, learn, etc.? Discernment is going to be your magic sort of elixir this month. So the more you are picky, the more you are cognizant of things, more powerful you're going to be, the more satisfied you're going to be as well. This is also the base card that I look for when it comes to having enough. It's so interesting. You got both of the cards that require discernment. I think you have 2 steps that are going to happen here. So let's just look at these cards in the front camera, and we'll talk a little bit more. So this one is saying you have more than enough, and you can probably get everything done that you want to get done. There is one item, though, that is really going to require you to either definitively say yes or no. This card means that you have to make a hard choice. So there's many things in your life that may be able to be delayed or reduced in scope or somehow negotiated. There's one thing where someone's saying you're either in or you're out, and you'll have to decide if you're in or you're out. The other thing that I'm picking up with this is work-life balance and just balance in general. So both of these cards are trying to get you back in your balanced Zen space. So are you sleeping too little? Are you eating too much? Are you drinking enough water? Are you drinking too much alcohol? Whatever is out of balance, this is really your wake-up call and opportunity to reestablish the balance so that you can be stronger, so that you can sustain your energy, so that all the good things that want to come in, you can actually embrace that, right? Let's look in your deep past and see what you've been working on. So we have the lovely Page of Cups here, and the Page of Cups is basically opening up to good news. It's a great card in general, actually. So Page of Cups is saying, good news is coming in. You're also putting yourself out there saying, I'm ready to receive something awesome. I'm tired of some of the stuff where it's always hard work and it's always difficult. It doesn't have to be this hard, right? So this card is saying, you're right. Let's start to expect, look, and manifest some of the good stuff. And it is an expectation. I expect this to go well. I think it's going to be good. Rather than going down the doomsday prophecy version of it, which is like, oh my gosh. It's always good to have a contingency plan. It's always good to plan for that sort of unexpected energy. But it's also good to prepare for something wonderful. So this card is saying something wonderful is going to happen. Open yourself up, prepare yourself, and free yourself a little bit. That wonderful thing could be love. Many of you have already done the Chiron healing that I was talking about, and you realize I can't make everybody else happy and perfect, but I can really make myself well balanced. That's the main thing here, is to find your balance and find your zen, right? Let's see if there's anything else here that I want to talk about with this. The interesting thing is the page is looking beyond the offering. So some of you the discernment has taught you to look beyond the carrot. What's the carrot attached to? What's this going to mean for me? How do I feel about this? I like that, because sometimes the carrot is just a carrot on a string. So this page is saying, that looks good, but what's the next step? Have I done this before? How do I feel about this, etc.? Okay? So yeah, and yes, there could be a Pisces coming into your life as well. All right. Let's go ahead now and take a look at the lovely Four of Swords here. This is definitely connecting to all of these balance cards here. So I do think it's time for many of you to take a necessary vacation. With the Four of Swords, typically it would be putting things to rest. With the card in reverse, it's saying some of you are moving so quickly, so fast, and so often that the universe wants to help you, but it's having a hard time finding you because you're going from this to that to the other thing. And so it's kind of like if you're lost in the forest. I think one of the pieces of advice is to stay still for a little bit so that the search party can find you, right? Because if you keep moving, they have to keep tracking you. So for some of you, there's been enough ping-ponging, enough movement. Take a moment. I actually talked about this today. It's really nicely aligned to the High Priestess card that I pulled for September 5th. So I mentioned that all of the power of that card, her intuition, her connection to higher realms, her ability to be magical and to manifest, there's a stillness with it. She has to be quiet and tune in and pay attention. Sleep is one way to tune in, meditation is another, and just stopping for a moment and thinking. So take a pause, slow down. Many of you are moving so fast that it's not necessarily sustainable in the long run. And that's the important thing here. Get the rest that you need, meditate more, and pause before taking the next step of the journey. The crowning card is a beautiful one. We have the Sun card here, which I love seeing. This is one of the decks that chooses to show lovers in this particular card, which is great. This is like energy attracting like energy. I always like to say that because some people think it's light. I'm like, no, it's like attracting like. And what we see here is that when you emanate and basically embody the energy of the sun, when you are strong, when you are confident, when you are your own source of inspiration, love, and organization, you're going to pull someone into your life that also embodies all of those energies. They are bright, they are strong, they are a good energetic match for you. So work on that. The card was reversed, and let's talk about the reversal of this. So with the sun reversed, it's saying I need to focus on myself in this moment in time. There's some things that I need. There's some things that I need to prioritize. And maybe I'm not always used to being the one who is saying, I want this, I need this. But if I can do this more, if I can do this well, it is going to position me as a leader. The sun is the nucleus in our solar system. And in order for you to be the nucleus in your life, you need to be stable. We don't want a wobbly sun. You need to have direction because the sun is basically like the conductor of the orchestra. It's telling each and every planet and satellite where it needs to be because of its gravity. And once you kind of have that clarity, great things start to take shape, form, and direction. So I definitely see the leadership opportunity for you, but there's something that you need or want, and that needs to be expressed. In dreams, it came across as like a vote, but it could just be a conversation. This is important to me, or I need this, or I like it when you say this, or whatever it is. Express your preferences, desires, and direction so that other people can meet you, and they're going to respect that leadership acumen that you're showing off right now. Okay? Beautiful stuff. And yes, this is a good month for love. The sun card can be that. There's a playful energy with the sun. Usually it's a little baby boy, riding on a horse. Well, actually, I'll pull the traditional card as we're talking because it's one of the horse cards in this. The death card and the knights also come in on horses, and I forgot to mention that. So the horse today is telling us we need to move things forward. We need to change what's necessary to change. And in doing all of this, we're also going to be able to kind of like have this rebirthing moment, which is also what the sun can represent. So I'll see if I can find it really quick, and then we'll move on to the next card. Here we go. So little baby riding in on a horse, having the best day ever. So this is your traditional sun card, and we had to mention it because of the horse energy for today. So this is a chance for you to unapologetically step into the skin of the new you, right? Let's see what all of this is coming across for. We have the Five of Wands here. Basically, we're seeing things open up here in this moment in time so that you can basically say, let's get to business. Let's get to work here. This is going to be a very productive month for you. The Five of Wands always requires a little bit of reconnection to like getting inspired, because sometimes work just feels like work, right? At the end of the day, there's this lethargic energy that can step in. So what are you doing to inspire yourself? And what are you doing to take a break and to celebrate the work that's been done? Because here's the cool thing. If we take a look at these cards, you have you being a communicative, strong leader that's not afraid to say what's on their mind. Then we have the work being done. And then over here, we have two great cards, an Ace of Pentacles and the Wheel of Fortune as well. All of these indicating, let's see if I can get a little bit more light here so we can see it. All of these indicating like really, really great things on the horizon for you. But there's some things holding you back. Again, leadership and clarity. So we're going to go into all of those. So a lot of work that needs to be done. But in order to do that work, people are looking for a very strong leader. There could also be someone in your life that's just having a hard time seeing you get into the next zone. The Strength card can be, first of all, it can indicate you're set up for success. Strength in and of itself is saying, you're going to try to hold me back, but it's not going to work, right? I'm stronger than even the most domineering and difficult energies that might present themselves. Don't underestimate me. And so I like that part of it. It can also represent someone in your life that's having a hard time letting go of you. It could be a parent or an ex in particular. There might be a boss that sees you succeeding but has a hard time letting you sort of like graduate up to the next position that you've earned. So whatever it is, whoever's kind of anchoring you, remember that you can always wriggle free of that, or you can overcome that sort of energy. This is ultimately a card of succeeding and accomplishing that which it seeks, which I like. Okay? There could also just be a really strong Leo placement or a strong Leo in your life. Speaking of the healing energy, because I talked about that, this would be maternal energy. So a lot of times, mothers, aunts, sisters, the strongest women in our life, or the strongest maternal or divine feminine energies in our life. There may be some healing that needs to be done there. All right. Focusing on what's going on in the environment. There's some confusion. So this is what I was picking up on when I was talking about leadership. We'll pull the card up right. This is the Seven of Cups. And the Seven of Cups, it's basically up in the air, right? Also, look at the mask here, which is interesting. That to me is the shapeshifter that's possibly lurking around too. There may be someone that enjoys an energy of confusion, because in confusion, they can get away with things, right? If there's a lot of chaos, they fly under the radar. So if you are in a position of management, if you have a big family and you're the person that looks after everyone, don't focus so much on where all the noise is. Take a look at the quiet person. Take a look at the one that you never sort of pay attention to. What are they doing? They're flying under the radar. There might be something that they need, want, or they're trying to get away with. And I'm encouraging you to look at the stuff you wouldn't normally do. Like pick up the rock, turn the leaf over, see what's there. And that's what this Seven of Cups is kind of bringing across. Slightly different interpretation, definitely a very intuitive read. But what I get with, it is there. There is chaos and confusion. That is part of the Seven of Cups. But someone or something is flying under the radar because of that. Now for you, this card is saying make a decision. And this is very much connected to the 2 and the 6 of Pentacles in the center. Where do you stand? What do you stand for and what do you want, basically? And if you can clarify your opinions, desires, direction, etc. to someone else, they're going to have an easier time showing up for you and doing it to your expectations. Less is more as well with this. There's too many options on the table. So if I was a project manager, if I were a project manager and this was happening, I would say, let's have a breakout meeting. Let's put all of this on the board and let's pick a top 3 like action items. The other stuff needs to go away. 2 or 3 things. Limit the scope, limit the focus, put some tangible actions in place, table the other stuff. The 6 and the 2 of Pentacles are saying you've got to table some things. You can't do it all at once. The metaphor of cooking is a great one. If you have 6 or 7 different things that are cooking at once, something's going to get burnt, something's going to be overcooked or undercooked, you're going to forget an ingredient. You can't, even a chef, you know, they have assistants that will help them, but they're probably not going to do 6 or 7 things at once unless they're amazing. And there are some amazing ones out there, but usually 2 or 3 things is fine. So just don't overdo it. Don't overextend because you don't want to create chaos either. Okay. Looking at hopes, fears, and opportunities. Super happy to see an ace here. We've got the Ace of Pentacles. This Ace of Pentacles is in the reverse state, and it's basically encouraging you to ask yourself this. How do I feel about this opportunity? Is this good enough for me? Is this what I want? You get to ask the tough questions and the tough decisions here. And you can also say, this is like taking the contract and sliding it back and saying, here's my edits. Close, but I need this. We talked about this, or this is missing. You can slide it back a couple of times. I think it's important to get what you need and what you want. And that is also connecting to the sun at the top here. So this is speaking up for yourself. This is showing that you've done the work to get there. And this is saying, well, what do you want? Are you in or are you out, basically, as well, the other person? The great thing here is we see the Wheel of Fortune being cranked along here. So everything here is kind of setting you up for success when we look at the outcome. So the outcome is the Wheel of Fortune, but the big sort of hand in the periphery of this one that we see on the side, that's you. And we see almost like a tower moment in this Wheel of Fortune. Someone's coming in, someone's exiting. And there may be a need to let someone or something go from your life in order for you to be able to get into that Wheel of Fortune energy. So again, I felt that even with this, there is an energy of anchoring or clinging or somehow pulling that is making it difficult for you to be free. And so we see that person exiting stage left or something on this. They're getting out of the card and saying, all right, or you've said enough is enough. And that allows you to then step into the energy of creation and the energy of movement. Overall, I really like this. We're going to go and expand the forecast, but let's just look at this again. We see you being able to speak up for yourself, you being able to stand up for yourself, and you being able to move in a direction that is authentic to you, because the first major theme that I see is empowerment. The one that's tied with it, I would say it's either second or tied for first, is discernment and choices. Clearing up the chaos will be a result of that. Being clearer is going to be a result of that. The necessary action for you is rest, recuperation, taking some time off. And if you do that, you'll be fine. Pay attention to the cracks in the foundation, pay attention to the fault lines, because they indicate that this has been done before. This is karma. I guess I hadn't really looked at it this way. And it's saying, we've been through this before, and this is what it causes. Do you want to go through this again? So that is that. All right, let's expand your forecast. We're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. Each one of these is multifaceted. The health messages have to do with your choices. And I'm here basically as an intuitive to help you see the potential energy and the free will that you have. As you decide to make changes with your health, mental or physical, you should work with the proper professional. But as I'm looking at things here, I'm going to do my best to show you the opportunities. Okay. Suffice it to say, I'm not a doctor, I'm a reader, but I'm trying to empower you. Your health card here is the grasshopper. Take a leap of faith. This is the Fool in tarot. If I was just going to do a nature deck, the grasshopper would definitely be that. So the card is reverse. So some of you are taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. And with the 2 steps forward and 1 step back, you're still moving forward. But sometimes it feels like you're just hopping around. I would also say, in addition to taking a leap of faith, look at where you're going. So let's look at your traditional Fool card. I can actually just show you this little side deck that I use because it's on the little tin here. So here's your Fool card. We actually have the little doggy in the corner here that is barking and sometimes tugging at the heel of the Fool. And the reason that it's doing that is because it wants the person to slow down a little bit. It's saying, check yourself. Check how big that cliff is going to be. Check to make sure that you're still connected to this. The dog is your conscience. And also the grasshopper represents, like from Pinocchio, right? His conscience. Actually, it was cricket. Same sort of family, same sort of energy. It's coming in to sort of say, hey, think before you jump. That's what this cricket is, or this grasshopper is bringing forth. Taking a leap of faith is really important too. Some of you may just be operating from a fear center where it's like, I want to do this, but I'm afraid to do this. So don't be afraid to do this. You're set up for success. It's just a matter of maybe getting a little bit of a safety net, someone there to watch or to help or to be there in case it isn't exactly the way you want it to be, or to get some money or resources put into place so that you can afford to try something for X amount of time. All of that makes a lot of sense. But once you can get into that energy of I'm free to do this, and even if I've taken a couple of missteps or course corrections, I'm still moving and treading in the right direction, then your emotions go in the right place, and that's a good thing. Grasshoppers, we're going to be looking, of course, at the legs. So the areas of, I would say, vulnerability for some of you would involve your legs or ankles. We have 2 balance cards, not just 1. So this is about creating balance. This is legitimately about the balance of your body. And this is like one of the things that could be out of balance is your sleep schedule. If you're tired, don't drive and watch where you're walking and watch how you're working. That's when you start to make mistakes. You'll make typos when you're creating a document. You may slip and say something you shouldn't. If you're walking and looking at your phone and you're kind of distracted, you could trip or twist your ankle. You shouldn't drive or operate machinery if you're tired. So you need to take care of yourself. That's the main thing that I'm seeing is a completely avoidable balance issue that's caused by overexertion, working too much, not sleeping enough. This could also have to do with inner ear. So there could be something going on that's causing balance issues here. There could be vertigo. I've had an ankle that I've twisted before in the past. Once you do that, once you've had a sprained ankle, it's been twice sprained, it can be sprained in the future. I've got to always be careful. I did a lot of strength training and it's pretty strong right now, but vulnerabilities like that you want to be mindful of. If you have any arthritis or previous sport injuries, and again, we're looking at the legs, anywhere in the legs, ankles, hips, knees, spend some extra love and care. Go get a massage, some acupuncture, work with your physical therapist to make sure that that part of your body is strong. And that's what I'm getting with the health cards. Let's see if there's anything else, particularly the grasshopper, because I want to look at that. It's just a good time to get some physical exercise, again, with the approval of your doctor. But this can be a gentle walk. This can be a low impact swim. This can be chair-based yoga. It can be super low impact, but it is moving the body. And strength training, again, to a point that makes sense for you. You may need someone to help you with that. The other thing that I'm getting besides balance or just taking care of your muscles in your body is mental cognitive ability. This is tied to this. So back when I used to be in college or when I used to work crazy schedules for work, I knew that there was a minimum that I needed to be productive the next day. I would say for me, it's different nowadays, but I would need at least 4 or 5 hours to function and to make sense. To do a reading, I need about 6 to 8 because and preferably a little bit more. 8 or 9 will be best because I need to really be rested. But I can do it on 6 to 8. But when you go into the territory of 3 hours or 2 hours, it's not going to work. What happens is your throat is going to you're going to lose your voice. For me, I start to get sniffles. So my sinuses give out, my throat gives out, I can't focus, I'm grumpy. It just falls apart. And so the other piece of that is you can't concentrate. So if you're having trouble concentrating, meditate and sleep more. And if it isn't solved with that, obviously talk to your doctor because there can be other chemical imbalances or emotional things that could be going on that could be causing the lack of concentration. If you're in an environment where there's too many voices, there's too much stimulation, find a place where you can concentrate. And that's the last thing that I'm picking up on with health. The good thing here is that we see when you take action, good things happen. Okay? Watch your step though this month because there were a couple of balance cards and a couple cards. Whenever I see the tower or someone like that that's falling out, we want to make sure that that doesn't happen. It's avoidable. Let's move on to your wealth card. I like that we got the cobra here. This is a very strong power symbol, right? I'm not even that upset that the snake is in reverse because as an aspect of you, snakes are flexible. They can go up, down, whatever. It doesn't matter. So look at things from a different direction. That's one thing that I'm getting here. You wouldn't want to really have an unnecessary conflict or confrontation with this cobra energy. You might want to be the cobra, but it's a little challenging to go up against the cobra. So what I would say is just like when you start to hear that rattle, if someone starts to put out the signs like leave me alone, back to the energy of the fault line. Do you really want to go there? Do you really want to test this? Don't poke the bear, basically, is what I'm getting at with that. Now, this could also be someone in your life. I like snakes and they're a power symbol, but they also have a connotation of someone that can be sneaky. That sleight of hand that I was talking about. It's also connected to the devil card in tarot because the devil is personified as a snake in some mythologies and religions. So what I would say here is the devil reversed is a reveal. It's actually good. So if I'm going to get a devil card, I want to see it upside down, just like the tower, because you have the ability to shape and to see something. And in this case, someone can't hide who they are. They're going to show their true sort of skin. They're going to shed their skin and you're going to see who they truly are. And so that's a blessing. It's a little frustrating when it happens, but it's always a blessing. In the areas of work, be very careful with contracts. We're coming, like this is for October, but I'm reading it in September, and there'll be a little bit, we're in pre-shadow now, we're gonna have a retrograde around the weekend or whatever. I'm gonna do a special forecast where I limit when I put all the dates out there, but for the next few weeks here and even into the beginning of the next month, we'll wanna be dealing with communication a little bit more carefully and definitely contracts a little bit more carefully. So look at it, be discerning. You may be able to get in or out of a contract, but you're going to need a little bit more care than you normally would have. Definitely, if you're watching live, this is the week to do it because we're still in the pre-shadow. So I would say that's the important thing there. All right, let's go ahead now and take a look at the other cards here. What I love about today's spread is the center card says you have enough. You have to make a hard choice in addition to some juggling. So some things can be moved around a little bit. You can play with some of the stuff, but there's a hard choice and decision. There's also a wake-up call for your health, your work-life balance, or something in your life beyond resources. This is resources, and this is just well-being. So both of these need to be brought into balance when we have the two balance cards here. And doing the right thing to balance, also connecting kind of like to justice. Whenever I see the scales, do the right thing and hold other people to do the right thing. But we go from not having everything that you want to abundance. And part of that is finding or asking for something. You could go and get a loan and get approved for a loan. This is saying we're short. We're short by at least 20 to 40% of what we need. Let's go get a loan for that missing piece. Let's get another investor. Let me ask for some help. Let me reduce how much I'm trying to do. Something has to give and then I see success, or something has to come in. So decide, do I want more or do I want less? And then do it. And then you'll do it successfully. And that's why it's coming through in wealth. And you have to be the power person in this equation. And that's why we have Sun, Strength, and Cobra. They're all very strong cards. And they're all leader cards. Okay, so even though the Cobra's in reverse, it's just saying, I've got to stand up, I've got to be strong. What do you want? That's the most important thing. 7 of Cups, and I mean that in a sort of like a prompt way. Think about this. If someone asks you, do you like this? What do you want to do with this company? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What do you stand for? This card is still deciding. So one of the sort of homework assignments that you have this month is to sort of really get decisive. Sort of isn't the right word. To really get decisive on what it is that you want and what you're trying to do, so other people know how they can show up for you. Okay? And if you do that, it portends great things. Again, you asking or editing something, you receiving what you've asked for. So that's why I want you to vote. That's why I want you to speak up, because you can make a change. You can make a difference. Whether it's you alone or you in a group. This is group energy. The problem with the challenge with the 5 of Wands is competition. So we need to get them all in the same sort of energy so that they're not competing, and then success happens. Okay, let's take a look at relationships. Being present. This is very 4 of Swords. Stop and take in the view, take stock of the treasures you've earned. I would say it's a gratitude card as well. So look at the people around you, look at the things that you've created, look at the beauty in your life and say, you know what, it took me a while to get here. We sleepwalk through our lives a lot, and we just go from thing to thing to thing, and it's sort of like, oh, that was actually a really important moment. It's not sometimes until they slip into, the past that you're like, So instead of looking through the lens of nostalgia, look through the lens of now. Today may be challenging, but I have this, and that's something to celebrate. So I want you to figure out, in your relationships in particular, look at the people you can lean on. This person's always there for me. This person always answers the phone. This person always has some good advice. I'm grateful for that. So instead of fixating on the person that's driving you crazy, and we all have at least one, right? Instead of focusing on the person that's triggering you, look at the person that's in your back, in the background saying, I love you, I'm here for you, you can do this. Your mentor, your friend, your love interest, whoever it is that's got your back, that's the person today to celebrate. Let's see if they're connected to the love in your life. So I like to break this down into 3 different categories. We're going to take a look at those who are already in a relationship, whether it's perfect or there are challenges, we'll take a look at that. Those who are seeking a relationship, and those who are single and happy. But still, part of being single and happy is, what did the relationships have to say for me? And then also, like, what's the relationship with yourself? All right, so focusing on present relationships, those who are partnered. What I love is that even though it's not the Lovers, it's a very similar card. So in the crowning position, we have the nurturing, loving, caring Sun card. So at the core of everything, and we also have the Page of Cups. So present situation is bookended in deep past and sort of like where your head's at by this love. And as long as it goes into the energy of love and compassion, things will be good. You can make it work. Here's where your challenges are. Someone is overworked or overextended. By the way, what do we have here but 60-40? And the person one person is sort of like enjoying skating by, or the other person may be overworked. We need to just speak up. This is why we have 2 cards saying, I need this, I want this, or you need to do this. The Boss is coming through. All the reversals, they're all power cards. Have you noticed that? We have a bunch of upright cards. This is the only power card, the Strength one, that's upright. But the other ones, the Sun, the Cobra, and even like the Ace of Pentacles, these are all reversed. So you've got to say what you want, do what you want, hold the other person to show up the way that they need to show up. And so finding that balance is going to be pivotal. Saying, I can't do this anymore. I need you to step in. Or I've been carrying this long enough. It's your turn now. And for those of you that are parents, you know what I'm talking about. It's like the late shift, or for those of you in a relationship where someone's always picking up the trash or cleaning, just say, I need you to do the laundry or the dishes. I'm exhausted. I'm going to go to bed. And if they're not done tomorrow, you still need to do them. Like put a line in the sand and say, I need your help. And in no uncertain terms, put it out that way. It's not up for kind of like an argument. Just say, you need to do this. I am exhausted and I always do it. And then they're probably going to say, why didn't you speak up earlier? And this is a lesson for some of us. It could be your partner saying this to you. Say, I would be happy to do it. Next time, ask sooner so I can help you. That's the correct response to that. Sure, I'll do that. Or yes, let me finish this and then I'll get right to that. And I will take care of that. In the future, let's have clear, and I would say more frequent communication. Because what can happen sometimes is, like, again, the volcano exploding. We want to avoid the volcano exploding or the fault line. Because as I said, no matter how you slice it, there's going to be friction with the fault line. And what happens with the slip slide is it goes really far. So you can go too far. And when it goes this way, you're just butting heads. And when it's this way, it's always one person winning and losing. So we don't really want the fault line to come into conversations. We want to release the pressure before any of that happens. With the slip slide, it's better if it keeps moving slowly than if it gets sort of like stuck and then it has to make a big move. That's what causes the really big earthquakes here in California, is if there's too much pent up energy and it has to release at once. So that's the main thing, is to have little conversations, little negotiations, not to kind of like let it all out at once, because it's hard for you, it's hard for the other person to digest as well. Someone just needs some love and support. So if it's you, do what you need to do. It may not be from your partner. We don't have to get everything from our partner. So you can spend time with friends. You can do sort of like the equivalent of a spa day. Maybe you're just going to take a bubble bath. You're going to listen to some music. You're going to go read a book. You're going to spend, get some coffee with some friends or something like that, or whatever. Just spend a little bit of you time to recalibrate. And that's actually some of what I'm getting here. You don't have to get it from the other person. There are different places here. Your partner wants to know where you stand, and sometimes we get into this habit of saying, think about it, think it over, you should know. If I have to tell you there's a problem, no, don't do that, not this month, especially with a retrograde. What you want to say is, this is what I want, I've said it before, how can I make it clearer, or what is it that's confusing you? This is the actual conversation that you want to have. You could say, I'm frustrated that I need to tell you, but this is what it is. What can I do to make that easier for you to see? That's the more empowered way than you should know. You should know is not nice to hear. It's not nice to say. So let's clarify it. The other thing is, you could just ask for clarity. If it's your partner that's confusing you, you could say, I know I know you've said it and it was clear to you. Can you break it down one more time? I want to make sure, because I want to make you happy, that this is what you want. But you're not saying it in ways that I'm understanding. Can you show me? Can we walk through it one more time? So ask for clarity. Or you could say, I just want to make sure I heard you correctly. You want me to do this, this, and this. Is that right? So somehow ask for clarity in words and in ways that work for you. Clear the air. And this is also clearing the air. So speaking your mind, asking those tough questions, clearing the air, clearing your heart, clearing your mind. Ultimately, I've got good news for you. You got to do the work. But we see the Ace of Pentacles and the Wheel of Fortune. Little give, little take, but ultimately Wheel of Fortune is good. Especially with the lovers sort of themed sun card here. So there's a lot of love to fight for. There's a little bit of work and clearing of the air to do. And there's a really nice outcome because of that. Now, for those of you looking for love, I have to be honest with you. It feels like there's a lot going on in your life. This is saying work-life balance. This is saying resources are pretty tight. They're manageable. This is saying you need a break. All of these together are indicating that love, yes, it's attainable, but first one needs to find a balance in their life to fully be there the way that the partner wants you to be there for them. So if you just started to meet someone, if you're trying to date someone, I would say first look at how it would be to be with you. And it feels like your calendar is full. You've got a lot of obligations. Clear it up a bit. And then also, if you're trying to manifest, this is the universe asking you for clarity. So when we're looking at the Seven of Cups here, let me just zoom out a little bit. Okay, so when we're looking at the Seven of Cups here, it's basically the universe being confused a bit, or you've got too many things that you're trying to say. If the laundry list is too big, if the the net is too wide, just like a fisherman would have issues with that, you're going to catch too many things. You have to have a specialized net for a specialized place at a specialized time of the year, right? Otherwise, you're just getting a bunch of junk. So you need to be more discerning in what you're manifesting. So here's the example. I've said this before, but it's good to repeat. Back when I used to do private readings, I don't anymore, but when I used to, there were clients that would come to me and they would say things like, and it was more than once, I keep telling the universe, send me a woman or send me a man, and why isn't it showing up? Or I keep getting this type of person, even though I'm saying like, send me this partner. But I would say, if you just say, send me a man, send me a woman, that is so general. That could be anyone. That could be the person that delivers your mail, the person at the grocery store, someone that you're walking by on the street. Like, you need to be pickier. So you want to find someone who is, and put your list together. I would say you don't have to have the biggest list, but it could be emotionally stable, financially soluble, someone who is ready and willing to spend time with you, who is available, who is kind, who is mature. These are things that I would put out there. Like, those are the essential things. You need to find someone who's got their life together, right? And a big piece of that is to make sure that list, you could meet that list. If you're giving the universe a list that's either too vague or too long, and you don't fit into that list, then it needs to be more representative of where you're at too. That will help you get what you're looking for. Because once you get realistic, bingo, we have the Ace of Pentacles and the Wheel of Fortune. So you can manifest love this month, but there's something off in the clarity during the manifestation. And it starts with self. The big energy this month is self-care, work-life balance, resource balance, rest, working on the body, making sure that you're strong, paying attention to any warning signs in your life. This is all self-care. And this is speaking up for yourself. Once you do that, then the partner naturally comes in because you're sorted out, because everything is where it should be. So I think that's the big opportunity this month for those that are single and looking. Could be a Leo coming in, because that's coming through. But either way, I feel like you're on the right path, and with a little bit of adjustment and a little bit of clarity, things will happen fast for you, okay? For those of you that are single and happy, you're still gonna need, the biggest sort of people energy that I pick up on this month is, like, work is gonna play a major role. You're gonna be able to get more than you had at the beginning of the month. So this is seeking balance, needing balance, finding a resource, and then starting to really work with that. So I definitely see a upward trend here with money and resources, job opportunities, etc. So I like that. I think that you may be underestimating your boss vibe and value. A lot of people look up or look adoringly towards something that you do. So really embody more of that in your life. And this is a very good card for ideation and brainstorming. So some of you that are inventors, scientists, even creative people like that are trying to come up with the next big project idea, this is saying capture everything. Put it all on a piece of paper, or if you're a musician, like, get that stuff on a demo tape, get it all captured. Then you can figure out later the tapestry or the organization of it. So I see like this big thing coming together, but it's going to come in small pieces, and then you're going to say, oh, that's how this works. And then someone else is going to look at that and say, absolutely, and we can take it to the next level. Okay? That was a lot, but that's why we also got taken the view. The Seven of Cups is confusion, lack of clarity, or lack of perspective sometimes, and this will help you figure out what you're on the precipice of discovering. All right, let's go into your destiny card, and it says, loving all that is. And she's really practicing like self-love here. It's almost like embracing the energetic self. So it's almost like you're giving yourself a hug here. Love yourself for the life you've created, for the energy that you have to offer, for all that you are. And know that someone else can and will do the very same thing in the future. And also realize that when you love and accept yourself, others are going to do that, and there's more to come. This isn't all that there is. The best is yet to come. So embrace that energy. Realize that once you kind of step into gratitude, again, the universe is like, oh, great, we'll give you some more. We see that you're ready for this. All right? Let's go ahead now, and we're going to move on to the big idea. I'll announce it first. The big idea is basically what you can now, let's imagine you're like Chiron and you have your bow and arrow. This is helping you get your target. What are you supposed to be focusing on? The catalyst is what you need historically to pay attention to and what's affecting everything, this is what you can do about that. This is like step 2. So let's take a look and see what the big idea is for you. Somebody's asking if I can read for them. I am reading for you right now. This is a reading for everyone under Taurus. I don't take questions during the reading though, because you need to be focusing on this. And there's daily card reads as well. So I do a lot of different types. Daily, monthly, and weekly. They're all here on the channel. I don't take questions, except in Q&As, which are pre-announced. All right, back to the focus here. Let's take a look at your big idea for the month ahead for Taurus. 9 of Pentacles. We like this. All right, so look at how strong and confident she is. Look at all of the abundance that she's brought into her life. The card in reverse is saying asking for help, receiving help, or looking for external assistance is not a sign of weakness. Many of you have worked really, really hard to not need to put that energy out there for others, or to not sort of like need to rely on others. And I would say the important thing for you to know is that some of you might just be one little step away from making something happen, and it might mean that you need to delegate or let go of something or remove something. But when you allow someone else to come in and help a little bit, then you're at the 10 of Pentacles, then you're at success. So don't say no if it's actually going to help. Don't be too stubborn when it comes to feedback and opportunities. Don't rush. Slow and steady wins the race when it comes to the 9 of Pentacles. Typically, we see this person in the garden and we see the little snail at the bottom. The snail representing both like the domestic sort of garden and everything, but it's also like the pacing. And I strongly believe that it's better to take your time and to be sustainable in the approach than to rush through something and get something too fast or before you're prepared. This is why we look at, a lot of people that achieve success or wealth when they're maybe like a teenager or a kid, and they don't know what to do with it in the long run because they haven't been through the context of life to appreciate like, wow, this is a great experience. So be slow, drink it in, take your time. Here's the traditional illustration. You can see the full garden behind her. You can see the little tiny snail in the front. And she is also saying, I'm going to enjoy this. It's not always been like this. It may not always be like this. I'm going to really enjoy this moment in time, right? All right. So you can do this, and wow, this is a great indication of where the abundance is headed. So what a graduation card to come come through after we're seeing both the 2 and the 6 of Pentacles. You've got this and then some. And that's really what this is setting you up for, is long-term sustainable growth that you can't rush. You'll get there. This is where the horizon is. And you will get there sooner than you think. And that's basically the big idea. All right, let's take a look now at blessings and blocks. Something really good, something that could potentially be challenged. Sometimes these aren't what they expect. It can be a blessing in disguise or a block that's actually helping you. Thank you to everyone in chat that's telling everyone how I read. So I appreciate that. Okay. Blessing and block. Blessing. Block. Okay, they're both pretty good actually this month. So I feel like I like what I see here. Your blessing is the ability to, once you've decided, you can delegate, you can be pushy, you can be persuasive, you can get it done. This is why you'll make a good boss. Nobody really gets in the way of the 7 of Wands. 7 of Wands is saying no. It's Gandalf in sort of, what was that, the two Towers? No, it was the first one. He actually, yeah. So it was the end of the Fellowship, where he basically says to the Balrog, "You shall not pass." And that is the ultimate 7 of Wands moment, is Gandalf doing that and breaking the sort of what was that, the bridge, so that person couldn't, or the person, it was a this fiery sprite demon from the underworld, but he was basically saying, you're not going to do that. And then he told everyone else, get out of here, run. So you have the potential to stop anything, and I mean anything, in your tracks, but it requires the definitive strong energy that we saw Gandalf have there. No with that sort of strength. And if you do that, no one's going to pass. No one's going to get past you. So definitely know when to put up those defenses. This is also about knowing when to let down your guard. So when you truly love someone and you've been with them for a long time and you need help, this card was about asking for help. And this card is about letting down the guard and saying, you know what, it's been a really rough day. So maybe there's only one person that you feel comfortable crying in front of. Maybe there's someone that you don't normally vent, but you're like, I really just need to complain for a second. Can I do that with you? Because I know you'll listen without prejudice. So find that space in your life too. When you need to be strong and stand up, do it. When you need to let down the guard, do it. It's going to be a combination of both. If you can dance that dance this month, you're going to find your strength and you're going to get to the 8 of Wands, which is productivity, sustainability, growth, and movement. Okay? When I'm looking at your block, it's just the intensity of emotion. The intensity of emotion can either be the rocket fuel that gets you to the next part of your life, or it can be the thing that distracts you. It can be the thing that, it's like the frog in your throat when you're trying to say something, or it can be your stomach butterflies getting in the way of you asking someone out. So it can be the tone of the letter, the text, or the message that you're delivering in real time. So use the emotions in a positive way, and that's going to benefit you. If you let them get in the way, then that's going to hinder you. This is a card of extremes. So we want to actually find the balance because it's in the block. So for me to find the block, it's the extremity of positivity or negativity. So you want to find some neutrality or something that's a half step in between. Okay? And that's where something wonderful can happen. All right, we're going to move on to the viewers and the readers' choices. So let me grab the keyboard and let's take a look at the cards here and see what's begging for a little bit more of an investigation from all of us. Okay, let me take a drink of water while we're doing this as well. Focusing on balance is so essential. As a reader, I'm gonna choose that. We can't ignore it because it's at the heart of the spread. So I either look at the thing that absolutely needs to be seen or the most difficult thing, because sometimes I know people are afraid to look at that. So let's look at some other stuff instead. So I'll focus on finding balance or why things are imbalanced. I think one thing that would be beneficial is how to ask for what you want. Maybe not the best grammar, but you know what I mean on that one. How to ask for what you want in life. Let's see what the next thing is here. How to clear the air. This is kind of like emotionally. And I think how to stand your ground is so important because we just talked about that. These are great, actually. I may take a screenshot. These are good weekend ones too, because I feel like these are so important. So I might use some of these for a weekend one. I just took a screen grab. Let me see if there's anything else. No, because I'm going to look at balance here. And yeah, I think that's pretty good because how to stand your ground has the power dynamics and everything. So, all right, take a look at these while I'm reading, and I will choose the one that has the most amount of votes, or if there's a tie, I'll read both. All right, let me take a look now I want to look at why the 6 of Pentacles, 2 of Pentacles, and the 4th, like work-life balance, sleep balance, all of these cards that are just showing a need for a little bit more balance. How can we help you achieve that? Or what is out of balance is what I might ask too. No surprise here. Okay, so we have King of Swords in reverse. The most powerful, potent, and concise form of communication one can pull in tarot. King of Swords knows what he wants, and he's not afraid to ask for it. He's not going to mince words. At his highest, he also won't hurt you. King of Swords upright is a lot more just and a lot easier to talk to, listens a little bit better. This one is going to make sure that someone doesn't interrupt or talk over him. I mentioned recently that I had a really frustrating conversation where every time I talked, the person talked over me. And I thought, like, this is not going to work. This isn't a communication. All you want to do, you're not listening, you're just talking. The other person just wanted to talk and wanted to talk me into exhaustion. So when that happens, you have to interject. So the King of Swords is going to find balance by stopping something, saying, no, let's stop. I need a chance to talk. I've listened to you. This is what I have to say now. Really kind of speaking up for himself. And then also going in and specifically saying, I know this is difficult, but this is what we need to do. A little bit of kindness, a little bit of support, and then go straight into the necessary action. So it feels like you need to speak up, to be honest, to find this. And with the King of Swords, there's some pent-up communication. It's been happening for a while, and now it needs to come out. So finding the best way to communicate it is going to be super important. Whenever I get a page or a king in reverse, I would say for you, tune in as well and listen. Because if the other person isn't listening, really listen so that when you speak to them, you can be very concise and very succinct and say, I heard you say this, this, and this. Show them that you actively listened. That was something that I also included in today's single card pull. It's really connecting with the signs that I read, which I like. So show your active listening and use that. High Priestess is she is a very persuasive energy. So connect with that and say, and this, I'm sure we won't both want this, and this is how we're going to do it. So that's it. Clear, concise, and strong communication of what your needs and desires are, what's working and what isn't. King of Swords is also like a surgeon. He's going to cut out the things that don't work. So if I'm reading about medical stuff, if we get Justice or any of the King or Queen of Swords in reverse, it's showing that the need to kind of go in and cut something out, which is also the Two of Pentacles saying, I can't do this anymore. I need to cut the ties here. And you actually see the ties here on these Two Pentacles. So just one thing, focus, you'll be okay. All right, let's go ahead now and take a look at what you have selected for me. Let's see. How to ask for what you want. That is really good. That is a great question. So I gave you some examples there, but let's see what else we can do to kind of help with that. All right. So let's take a look at how you can communicate your desires, at how you can ask for help. All right, let me just make sure I can see this. Okay, how to ask for what you need. Interesting. Okay. Seven of Pentacles is healing and growth. And it's also understanding that there's a deficit on some levels here. So let's talk about the Seven of Pentacles, and then I'll apply it directly to the question. You see here a gardener. Typically, he's a little more frustrated than he looks in this card. He's not looking at what he's done. He's still looking at the distance. So he may be focusing on, how did that other person get that? Why haven't I gotten this? What happens? Oh, good. It was really close. What happens in the Seven of Pentacles is you can see his sort of forlorn look there. Why isn't this growing faster? Why is this taking so long? Why? Why can't I be the Nine of Pentacles with everything? So what we can do sometimes in the Seven of Pentacles moment is we spend too much. We work too hard. We overpromise. The Seven of Pentacles can actually connect us to the Seven of Swords. Yeah, I'll do this. I'll do that. Yeah, wait, I'll make it work. And at the end of the day, you get exhausted. You can't do everything. You've overextended. So the main thing that we want to make sure is that where the overextension exists, or where the danger of going into that overextension might show up, you're going to stop it, or you're going to prune it. So that you can move into abundance, which is going to be 8, 9, and 10 of Pentacles. You're very close. There's just a little temptation or a little deficit that's entered in here. So back to the question, how to ask for what you want. Don't overshoot. That's actually what this card, I knew that if we just chatted about it a moment, it would come through because it's about overextending. So ask for enough, but don't overshoot, and don't do something that isn't sustainable for the other person as well. So if you're in a contract negotiation, for a salary negotiation more specifically, and you know what you should get, you know probably what the negotiation will be, and you're like, but I'm going to ask for even more. Don't go overboard. Mark it up just a bit. If you're marking your products and services up, there should be a little bit of markup so there can be profit made. You don't want to just break even. You need a little bit of profit. So you want to get exactly to that point where there's enough demand. Supply and demand, one of the most useful things that I learned in college. Nothing is ever going to be overpriced in a traditional marketplace where there's competition, because when there's enough demand for something, and a price point is right, it's going to be perfect. So if you price it too high, the demand will go down. If you are out of stock, you're probably not pricing it correctly. You could make it higher. So think about yourself in the same terms. How competitive is this job? How valuable is the work that you're doing? And what's the sweet spot where you know that it's just enough, it's not too much, and they're looking at it as a good long-term investment? And that's what I would say. Whatever it is that you're asking for, a little bit more, but not too much. Don't overreach. And imagine yourself on the other side, and maybe imagine what their other costs could be. So when it is, and we're looking at this more like salary, this could be also in a relationship. The other person may have a lot of other things that they're juggling at the moment, so they can only give so much. And if that's not enough, then maybe it's just not the right match. So ask exactly what you need, and if they can't show up with that, or a little bit more, plus a little more, but not too much, if that's not going to work, then you have to think to yourself, is this enough for me? So that's the main piece of advice I have is don't overshoot, but don't underestimate. We need to go one up. It's above the Six of Pentacles. That's good. This is still showing growth over Six of Pentacles. Literally, the card is showing the garden growing, and it's eventually going to give him all of the sort of fruits that she has here, the fruits of the labor. So work hard, get paid accordingly. Make sure that you're not over or underappreciated or over or under extended. That's the main energy here. Okay. Hopefully that helps answer your question. Pay your debts as well. Debts can be, figuratively speaking, any promises that you've made to do. So get rid of debts and promises, get those sort of, accomplished, and enter into something also with a clean slate. Good. Perfect, actually. Now let's take a look at Sun, Rising, and Moon. So as I said earlier, you can use this reading for any aspect of your chart. You can cross-watch for those that you love and care about as well. And if there's any sort of there's any questions that you have, you can always use it for those in those nature. But I also kind of like to specifically fine-tune it for Sun, Rising, and Moon because I know we all like to look at that. So let's take a look at the cards. I'm going to pull one for each and then we'll break it down. Sun, Rising, and Moon. All right. Actually, they're beautiful cards here. They're all very positive and they're all really powerful and successful. I like that. So this is good stuff. Let's start with your sun sign messages. We have the Hierophant in reverse. So for those of you that are Taurus Sun, what we're getting here is, it's hard. This is a very Taurus trait as well. You don't want to be bossed around. You might have a difficult time this month following rules, instructions, or protocol. You actually may have a much better way to do something. This represents the old system, the old way, the old guard. And I like to mention on these cards that you always have the keys. You hold the keys. This person used to be the gatekeeper, but we're having a paradigm shift in this century where we're understanding our own empowerment, our own connection to the divine, our own ability to create. So the Hierophant is not the card it once was, at least as I read. There is always an option, especially if it's reversed, to change the system, to go in there and kind of like change it completely. So if you want to do that, you can do that. But this might be saying for you, it would be more engaging, more fun for you to work at a place where disruption is a part of it. So go to a company where they're trying to do new things. So your energy is new, innovative, nonconformist, and independent. This may mean that you need to do your own business or work for a company or be in a group where people encourage individuality. That's why I saw a wild horse when I was tuning into your energy this morning. So sun sign, find a place where you can be freer. And if you don't have the opportunity to make that happen immediately, do your best to figure out where you want to fight for the change to happen and where you're just like, I'll just do this. I know that this is part of what I signed up for. There are certain things where you're at right now where you don't have the final say. And this is more informing you of your long-term maybe need or desire to find a place where you have more of that. So someone doesn't want to hear or see it from that perspective perhaps right now. So again, the challenge is you have an option here. The guides just told me you have an option if you don't need or want ownership. This is up to you. you can try to allow the person to take ownership of it. To me, that's risky, and that also takes away some of the power. But sometimes when we are in the company of a leader, you can sort of help them see something, then they can go forward and they can own it. But I think it's so much more powerful for you to take the key and you to take the podium. But my guides wanted me to say, for some of you that aren't so much about the center stage and just want to see a change for the better, you can be an agent or a seed of this sort of change or shift to happen. And then you're going to be satisfied with the end result because you just wanted a better environment, a better world. So that works too. That's like kind of what someone in politics would try to do if they're lobbying for change or something. They don't necessarily need to be the one that makes it happen, but they want to see the change happen. Or if you're trying to protest or whatever, it's like, I don't need to be the leader. I just want to say, I don't want this. And I want to be a part of the movement of change. So either be a part of the movement or be the movement. And that's basically what this card is saying. Okay. Get organized. That's the other message. The Hierophant is many things, but he's not disorganized. One of the most together cards you can pull. So the reversal of this is saying clean things up. Clean up your finances, clean up your schedule, get organized. It's good news for it's good message for all of us. So we will heed that warning, and it is a valuable thing to have. Disorganization or confusion came through in the environment. So he's saying, I don't want any of that. And that is Taurus, to sort of clean up the mess and get the order together. So definitely feel free to do that if you want to do that. All right, moving on from Sun to Rising or Ascendant. Time to take center stage. And guess what? Another card with horses. This is really connected to you. Six of Wands rather. What I like about the Six of Wands is in this particular deck, we've zoomed in so much that we're not looking at the people. This person's doing what's right because it's right, not for public acclaim, not for attention, not for reinforcement. That's the best version of the Six of Wands that you could ask for. Because when you feel good about it, when you do it because it's right, when it just is right, then actually success has a way of finding its way to you and to that. So this is very much connected with that sort of do the right thing and the right energy is going to find you. For those of you that are artists and content creators, the best advice I would give you is do something you love, do it with passion, do it consistently. And when you do that, other people see the value, the passion, and the consistency, and they're like, yeah, that's what I was looking for. Okay? There is success to be had in business. By the way, Rising and Ascendant is amazing for business, and it's showing how you are showing up for everyone else. So people see you as valuable, successful, something that's magnetic. It's a magnet card as well. So it's a really good month for business, work, finances, and social endeavors. Get yourself out there. Even if you are self-critical and self-conscious, most people are not focusing on the things you think they're focusing on. They're dealing with their own insecurities. Don't highlight your own insecurities either. Just put your best foot forward, smile, and engage with others. You're going to have a great month. This is probably the best of the three that I've pulled here for Sun, Rising, and Moon. So it's a really good month for finances and for social endeavors. And if you are Taurus Rising, this is going to be a great month for you. Taurus Moon. This is where my placement is. So you are never too old or too young to do something. The Emperor in reverse is saying, take that piece of the puzzle out. So let's just say that you're the right person at the right time for whatever it is that you're trying to do. This is also saying for you to listen to your soul's experience and to also people in your life that have been through it before. It can help you avoid a misstep. All kings have advisors, right? And sometimes they don't listen to the advisors. So listen to the advice and listen to your own life experience as well. And find the balance between the two. The Emperor in reverse is saying, I'm going to get off my throne and I'm going to get out there in the world. I'm going to experience things. I'm going to re-engage with the energy of the Fool again. And walk the walk and talk the talk. But the Emperor is ultimately a strong, controlling, and authoritative card. You have the ability to be a good leader this month if you choose to. You need to listen and you need to connect with the people around you. But if you do that, couldn't ask for a better card than the King. We have a lot of King cards, but this is the King in all of them. So you're really well set up for that. With this being reversed, again, there's something about this that's kind of fun. You may be someone who didn't see yourself as a leader, but you're a natural leader. You may be very young, but you're set up for success because of the skills and the just natural talent that you have. You may have done a lot of leadership in your life, and now you want to go out on your own and be more independent. Whatever it is, leadership is a big part of the moon, and experience and trusting in your own power. Reclaiming your power, I would say, if I had to put it in the most concise terms, reclaiming and celebrating your power. That's what the moon sign needs to focus on this month. Don't let someone take it away. Don't let someone step in and, sort of take the limelight. That's why when I was talking about the Hierophant, I really wanted to pause on that, because I think that there's a really good chance for you to be seen as like this innovator or thoughtful person, but like it's a person that you go for big ideas, right? And I think that that's such a valuable trait and an underrepresented trait out there. So I really want you to shine if you're ready and willing to do that. Okay. So I believe we hit all of the main points. We're getting ready to enter into the final part of the reading. There's a little bit more to come, so don't drop off just yet. What we're going to do is a 3-part final piece. It's going to be a meditation, sound bath, and then I pull a final card. So if there's something big, a burning question, stick around and I'll answer that question. For the person who typed out earlier, I'd like you to read for me. Silently ask that question. This is the time. I forgot to say it because I was in the middle of a reading, but right after the meditation, don't put it in the chat until afterwards, but focus on the question. I'll pull a card. You'll get your answer. Okay? I should have said that in the moment. Final note before we get into the meditation, please do me a favor. If you're brand new, hit that subscribe button. Over 60 to 70% of the people that watch don't subscribe, which is mind-boggling. If I want the channel to keep growing and reaching more people, I need to see more subscribers. So again, if you've been watching for a long time and have never done it, it costs nothing. It literally is non-committal. It just says, hey, I like you. It's the equivalent of liking a person or on like Instagram or following a person. And I think they should use follow instead of subscribe. It's free. If you want to follow me on social media, speaking of that, it's always my first name, no special characters, no backup accounts, no direct messages, and no private readings. I like to put all of that out there so you know, especially with retrograde coming around. And if you want to show love and support, you can do that optionally using the icon that you see here. All right, let's get into your meditation. So I'm looking at all the cards here. I'm really drawn to the solar energy in the crowning position here, because it is a very attractive force. So we're going to do a sun meditation, a rising sun meditation. So let's ease into that right now. Just close your eyes for a moment. Take a few deep breaths. Really let go of any tension that you might be holding on to. Feeling that you're pulling in all the light and energy from the rising sun, and you're exhaling almost like a plume of dust or smoke, anything that has blocked your mind, your body, or your energy from receiving. See yourself sitting atop of a hill. There's wonderful soft grass beneath you. Maybe there's even a forest or a glen behind you. But what you're focusing on in the horizon is the rising sun. And I'm seeing it coming up over the majestic mountains. And as the sun starts to rise, you can see like a single point of light first. And that single point is powerful. There's a very strong ray that comes out where it's actually coming through between the heart and the throat chakra, and it's going to move in both directions. It's going to open up your communication center and your passion so that you can speak with passion, act with passion. You can feel it going into the solar plexus and the lower 2 chakras as well to ground you, allow you to be powerful, expressive, and be able to be the leader that you were meant to be. And then you see it then moving up through third eye and crown so that you can expand consciousness, expand your reach in life as well, expand your resources if you'd like to. Now the sun is fully on the horizon, and you can see rays shining in all directions, but you see them wrapping themselves around you, almost like a cocoon of light. So as you sit here in this warm energy of the cocoon of the sun, I want you to imagine what it is that you need to shed in your life. I talked earlier about Chiron, the wounded healer. See what it is, see who it is in the past that you are finally ready to say thank you and farewell. Kind of like the song from The Sound of Music, so long, farewell. But with love and light. So see that person walking toward the sun, or see that situation fading into the sun. The sun is now brighter than the person, or brighter than that figment or that energy in the corners of your mind. The pain is fading. All that's left now is the light. You and the light. You and the creative source energy. You now embody the sun itself. With that, now you can reach out and pull in someone or something of the same frequency which you have just accomplished and have just created. Keep breathing, keep seeing the light, keep focusing on what's coming through from the light. And if you still need to release something, see the sun going in and just clearing it out. All right, I'm going to play the singing bowl, relax, enjoy, and then we will read the final question and final card afterwards. Again, hold the question, don't put it in chat right now. Take a nice deep breath. The sun is now directly overhead. You are now completely glowing and buzzing with this newfound energy of hope, confidence, and strength. On the next natural exhale, open your eyes. Turn your attention now towards the question that you have for me. Don't type it yet, just focus on it, hold it in your mind, speak it out loud if you need to. Let's pull a card and see what's coming through. Wonderful. This is exactly what we saw in today's single card pull. She is reversed, however, for you, so we're going to talk about that. High Priestess is one of the best cards, as I said in today's reading, because she is the most persuasive, she is one of the most connected, and she's one of the most the best cards for manifestation. So in this moment in time, if we look at her in the most elevated form, it's saying you should trust yourself. Let's put it that way. You should trust your higher instincts and your downloads that you're receiving. You know exactly what to do and how to do it and when to do it. So this is the time to take action. As a yes, no, it's a yes. Now, the reversal of this card is a bit of a warning for external energies around you. So when we see a High Priestess in reverse, it can show someone who is using their persuasive powers to somehow manipulate or manage something to their higher good, but not necessarily yours. So watch out for anyone that is manipulative. I'm actually looking at the scroll that she's holding, and there may be something in a contract that someone's trying to hide underneath legal language or they try to get you to sign real quick, sign this page, and slow down a little bit and have someone take a look at it, just to make sure that you're not signing something that you shouldn't, okay? So when it comes to contracts, definitely have an expert take a look at it. When it comes to your own promises, make sure that you're not overreaching or overextending. We've gotten that a few times, like with the Seven of Pentacles. But ultimately, don't second guess your very tuned in intuition. You know exactly what's right and exactly what's wrong. It's only when you discount that the key challenges seem to be stepping into your life. So the other piece of this is thoughts manifest. Focusing on positive energy and positive traction creates more of that. Focusing on fear-based energies usually is going to manifest things that will show you your fears. So I want you to focus on possibilities, positivity, and where you actually can create the shift in your life. Because if we go to the catalyst, it is all about shifting and changing. So she's coming through and saying, I know how and where and why I want to see these shifts happen. Let's do it. Okay? Yeah, this is one of the most beautiful. I always think the illustrations for the High Priestess are always gorgeous, right? And almost every single deck, I love it. I love the majestic blue in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, and also this one. It's even a little bit bluer than usual. And we can see it's throat chakra, third eye, and crown, because we have blue, indigo, and violet, right? So that's what you want to use in your communication. Clear communication, forward thinking, highest good. Couldn't go better than those three things, right? And if you do that in anything this month, you're going to be okay, and especially during the retrograde. Energies of clarity in those three zones are going to be super important. Okay, but it's a yes and a yes/no. It's a soon and a how long sort of energy. It could be very soon, like a couple days or a couple weeks, no more than a couple months, since this is number 2 in the major arcana. So quick, I would expect that for manifestation. Positive, as long as you were focusing on the positive, and impactful. So very good energy to wrap up with the final question. If it's a person you asked about, they are persuasive. They can be a little tricky, but you are very keen and you are very tuned in, and you're going to be able to deal with them. All right? It's a nice word for manipulative. There could be someone that knows how to work or how to push your buttons, so you want to be mindful of not reacting to that. So you're going to be one step ahead. The High Priestess sees that, and she's like, checkmate. She goes to the next move. Okay? Perfect. All right. That, my friends, wraps up today's reading. So thank you again if you did subscribe or if you are following me on social media. I'm going to take a moment now to express thanks for everybody that gave back with super stickers, super chats, and memberships. All of those things help me do more readings. Like I said, this week I'm throwing in an extra one for retrograde because we all need it, right? And it's the right time for it. But your support allows me to do some extra ones even when I'm not showing up live. So thank you for that. All right, first things first, if you're brand new, welcome. You know how to join if you would like to, and it would be great to have you do so. For those who have already become a member or have been watching me for a long time, I see a lot of faces here that I remember. Thank you for your continued support. To the newest members, thank you to Joan Young, who just joined and is a brand new member. Susanna, thank you very much for rejoining after 2 months. Carla Owen, joining brand new, just one day. And I think that's everybody. Everyone else I remember from the Weekend Collective. So thank you to the 2 or 3 newest members. Good to have you here as part of the family. All right, let me take a moment now to say thanks for super stickers and super chats, and then we'll wrap up for today. Okay, so today, kicking things off, we have Love. What a great name. Thank you. I'm glad you were here, and good luck with your first child, okay? Mauricia, thank you so much for being present again. I recognize your face and your name. I appreciate that. Jewel512, thank you. Mad Monica, good to see you back here as well. Thank you for your contributions. So just a heads up, I did post the schedule for this week. You can see that I'll be doing, again, it's predictable, by the way, for those of you that are brand new. Here's my schedule. Every Monday, Thursday, and Friday, I read monthlies. Every single day, I do a daily card pull, and I do it typically the day before. And then on the weekends, I do a collective. So the next 2 readings, I should say, are Gemini and Cancer for Thursday and Friday. That's the 8th and the 9th. And then I'll be back on the weekend on Sunday for another collective. And there should be a bonus one sometime this week that I'll just post, a shorter one for the retrograde. Okay. in the meantime, lots of love and light to everybody. Thank you so much for showing up. I wish you all the best, and have a great month ahead and a great week ahead. All right, take care. Bye-bye.